What if Naruto ate the Horo Horo no Mi? You guys might be like, that's actually kind of an interesting fruit, and I thought so too. I mean, it's one of the most powerful fruits in the entire Thriller Bark arc, and also one of my favorite fruits in the entire manga. It's just an incredible fruit that gives access to a plethora of insane abilities, and arguably could potentially be one of the strongest fruits in all of One Piece. That said, I was like, you know what? I like doing Devil Fruit, X Naruto, X My Hero Academia videos, so I'm like, let me throw this out. I already did one with Gecko Moria, Shadow no Mi. In case you guys want to check that video, I'll leave it pinned up above. But with that said, the creator of today's thumbnail is going to be iCare. You can find her link down below for Instagram. And with that all out of the way, enjoy the video.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Alright, so this is the part where I'm now going to explain the abilities that Naruto's going to have access to for those casual viewers that don't really watch One Piece and more or less just clicked on it because it's a Naruto what if and I made it. If you want to skip through this, gladly do so, you really won't be missing much. Just skip to whenever I start actually explaining the story. Anyways though, so basically what this fruit gives the abilities to is essentially it gives you the powers of a ghost, which essentially allows you to leave your body in astral projection form so that you can't take physical damage. You can kind of like follow people around. You can grow massive, you can grow tiny. You can project small little tiny ghosts that actually look kind of cute and make them explode once they make contact with people. And people can't fight them back because keep in mind, they're non-tangible entities. Not only that, but the Horo Horo no Mi also grants access to another ability that essentially makes the target that a ghost goes through pretty much depressed. Where once upon a time it went through like Zoro and he just fell down onto his knees and began being like, oh my god, I'm worthless as a swordsman. It basically makes people depressed. So now you have a basic understanding of what it is, but if you want to go deeper into what the Horo Horo no Mi is, I'll leave a video linked down below in the first comment that you guys can check out in case you guys really want to like get a better detailed insight into what it does. That said, let's get started with the main topic of today's video. How would this even happen? Alright, so I'm going to be going with a random, a random theory that I made up a while ago for the Shadow no Mi fruit. The way that I basically chalked all of this up to was essentially, let's just say for hypothetical reasonings that when a chakra fruit tree is made, it creates two fruits, right? One devil fruit, one chakra fruit. Now the devil fruit is something that the Otsutsuki members are only allowed to consume once, and it almost never happens. It's so rare to have a second fruit emerge. But this time on the planet Earth, let's just say that for some reason two emerged and it was never found. Eventually it came into the hands of Minato Namikaze, and eventually when Naruto turned about the age of, say 4 years old, Hiruzen ends up essentially granting Naruto access to this fruit. Naruto takes it back in a little treasure chest. He goes home, he's happy, I guess as happy as you could be after getting kicked out of your own home. But he's decently happy, a little bit. Not really. Yeah, I wouldn't be too happy if I was him either. But hear me out. Essentially, Naruto goes home, right? The man's chilling. A couple months pass by. It's just a kid. He doesn't know how to, keep track of his money, make good purchases, buy healthy foods. He just wasted it all. He paid rent and then wasted everything else. So now Naruto was left with an ultimatum. No food, steal food. So what does Naruto do? He's like, you know what? I'm gonna eat that fruit. I don't care. I'm hungry. I want that fruit. He looks at it. It looks so curious. It's in such a strange shape. But Naruto just shrugs his shoulders, opens wide, gobbles that thing up, and immediately his face turns sour. He's like, ugh, that was disgusting. But suddenly, it's as if a Dragon Ball Z shock scene comes onto Naruto's face. He's like, oh my god. Like one of those classic anime scenes. And basically what happens is Naruto realizes, hey, I just consumed the devil fruit. Because from what a lot of people don't tend to really associate with devil fruits is that once you consume one, you kind of have a general understanding for what it is you ate. Like there were some characters in the One Piece universe where they ate Zoan type fruits, and after consuming them, they were able to say, okay, I ate the this no mi, it gives me this and this power. So it's essentially what happens to Naruto. And now he is made aware of his water weakness, something that is actually going to be very apparent in the Naruto universe, but something that Naruto's not exactly just going to be letting out to be known. This version of Naruto, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to be saying does not have the ability to water walk. It's not going to be a possibility for this Naruto, just because I want to give him a little bit of like a little challenge, right? A little challenge at the very least. So what I'm essentially going to be having happen is essentially Naruto in this version is most likely going to be a long range fighter. If I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys, do I believe that Naruto would even feel the need to train once he understands his powers and gets to know them a little bit? No. What I personally believe Naruto would do, being a kid with some devil fruit powers, just like many other of us would probably do, he would flaunt and just be absolutely thrilled at these powers. I mean, he can create ghosts, and from what he can tell, he can even make people depressed to the point where he can get what he wants out of them. This is something that Naruto would do regularly whenever somebody was mean to him. He would simply just be like, a ghost would get summoned, it would go through them, and just like that, the people became depressed. And Naruto would just walk away like, everything's good. And that's just how Naruto lived his life. Eventually, he ended up gaining a pretty decent understanding of his devil fruit's powers. And because Perona was able to actually get a decent understanding of her own fruit's abilities at Thriller Bark, even though I never picked her to be like a more like genius type character, even the dumbest Naruto characters are so incredibly like smart in this verse. I mean, Naruto and Sasuke were able to create a multi-step plan without even exchanging words. That just shows how, strategically smart these characters are. So something like a devil fruit that doesn't really have that many abilities at the same time as it does wouldn't really be that difficult for Naruto to get a good grasp over. So I'm going to be saying that by the time that he actually makes it to the academy for the like 4 years or 6 years or whatever it is that he's going to be in there, Naruto is going to essentially be very versatile when it comes to his devil fruit abilities. Naruto would essentially not exactly be too like, oh my god, I'm going to be the next Hokage. Obviously he wants to be because he still wants the recognition from the villagers, but he's not exactly going to be annoying in the sense that he normally would be in the canon events of Naruto. Things are going to start to deviate from the path just due to the fact that Naruto's personality deviates due to his powers. Naruto is going to grow a little bit more confident, a little more with a little bit of a god complex, I guess you could say, due to the fact that he's never been beaten, and he probably won't be for a while. I mean, he's just getting in the academy. Anytime that anybody tried him, Naruto would simply use his strange abilities, calling it a Kekkei Genkai, and saying that, what about it? The only times that Naruto's ever been shown to lose is whenever they do taijutsu battles, which is something that Naruto finds very, very interesting. Taijutsu, huh? Taijutsu battles. Naruto never was good at taijutsu battles. So anytime that Iruka made a battle with Naruto and some other kids, he basically started saying, Naruto, it's only a taijutsu match. And Naruto knew why Iruka was doing this. I mean, Iruka, let's be realistic here, Iruka never really liked Naruto the best, if we're being realistic. So Naruto doesn't have the best of luck when it comes to this classroom, is just presence as a whole. So that's just why I say what I'm saying right now. That said though, what I see ending up happening is eventually the final day of the academy would roll along, right? And Naruto this time around doesn't exactly strive for the attention of every single person around him, just due to the fact that Naruto is more focused on training, trying to become powerful, trying to amass more strength as every day goes by, making sure that he can't be beat. Because once Naruto got a taste of beating everybody easily, Naruto doesn't want to let that go. I mean, how would you guys feel if you were let's put it like this. Let's say you're a phenomenal soccer player or basketball player or baseball player, right? You're amazing at it. You have certain talents that other people just don't have, something that other people can't replicate. Suddenly, here comes another person that does the one thing you can't do and is so much better than you at it. So you're just feeling like, oh, like, damn, I wish I was better at this. Like, I know I'm better than them at this, and that, but what about this? So Naruto essentially develops that kind of mentality where he's like, I need to be better at this, yada, yada, yada. And that's what eventually leads Naruto to deciding, I'm gonna get strong in terms of taijutsu, and I might try to focus on chakra control. Just one problem, Naruto doesn't exactly have the ability to use chakra properly. Due to the fact that the Nine Tails is constantly tampering with Naruto's chakra pool, Naruto was never quite able to actually access his chakra proficiently, or at all, to be honest. He really sucked that it couldn't perform shadow clones, and because of that, Naruto was about to fail the academy. That is, until his Chunin instructor Mizuki ended up telling him about the fact that there's a certain way that Naruto could potentially pass this exam. Take this certain scroll for me, and I'll do the rest, Naruto. Don't worry about it. I got you, Naruto. I got you. Me right here. Naruto just looks at Mizuki and he's like, you know what, Mizuki? Fine, I'll do it. He ends up going off, steals the scroll, and ends up meeting Mizuki back at the forest, where Naruto ends up learning the jutsu, which is known as the multi-shadow clone jutsu. Just like in canon, due to Naruto's large chakra pool, he's able to use it perfectly, and when Mizuki arrives, and he ends up saying, Naruto, you're a fool, you know, yada yada yada, hand me the scroll, after Iruka comes in and is like, what are you doing here, Naruto? Naruto was blatantly able to just use one of his ghosts and shoot it straight through Mizuki, causing Mizuki to get depressed, fall to the ground, and falter with what he was just about to go through with, leaving Naruto to just look at him and be like, alright, so you try to trick me? Let's just say I don't like that. Mizuki stays on the floor, and Naruto proceeds to beat this man Mizuki senseless, to the point where Naruto then gives the scroll back to Iruka, and Iruka then tells Naruto, he did a great job defending the scroll. This version of Iruka still has a shuriken impaled through his back, but what's he gonna do? He lived in the original, he's gonna live now. That said though, Naruto looks at Iruka, and Iruka would go on to say Naruto, have you told them yet? Naruto looks to Iruka. Tell them what? About the sponsor of today's video, of course. Fandom. Oh, no, I didn't. Let me tell them right now. As anime fans, we love to show our support to our favorite shows by rocking anime apparel. But something I'm pretty sure we can all agree on is it's so expensive. So I've partnered up with Fandom to bring you all affordable, high quality anime merch that you are sure to love. And if you use my code ZETHER at checkout, you can even get an extra 10% off the already affordable merch. Keep in mind, it does come from overseas sellers, so its sizing is going to be different since it's overseas. That said, let's get back into the video. Alright, jumping back in from the sponsor break, the way that we're immediately just gonna jump back into it is the very next day when Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura are all assigned to Team 7. I think that this is a perfect place to pick things off just due to the fact that nothing really is going to be changing. When it comes to Naruto's introduction, he's simply going to be saying that he still likes ramen, he doesn't enjoy training, he doesn't enjoy people who annoy him, and Naruto enjoys ghosts. When Kakashi hears that, he's like, ghosts? What's this kid talking about? And Naruto would just be like, don't worry about it, Kakashi sensei. From here, Kakashi would be like, okay, I guess I won't worry then. I'll take your word for it. He would then hear Sasuke be an emo, Sakura be an absolute trash bag. By the way, comment hashtag Sakura is useless down below in the comment, no spaces, and I'll make sure to like your comment. And you can also comment something down below that, and I'll most likely actually acknowledge it. That said though, also one more thing, if you guys comment within the first 10 hours of this video being out, I'll most likely be able to actually answer back. Because I get thousands upon thousands upon thousands of comments a day that it has grown so hard to genuinely answer back to all of you guys. Even though I appreciate your support and the comments that you guys leave, it's almost impossible to answer back to all of them. Tangent aside though, getting back into the story, what I believe ends up happening following this is Kakashi essentially informing the team of the bell test. They end up arriving to the bell test area the next day. Naruto didn't eat, Sasuke didn't eat, Sakura, say it with me, didn't eat. And what ends up essentially happening is Kakashi arrives 4 to 5 hours later. Once it's like 12, they would look at Kakashi and be like, why are you so late? And Kakashi would go on to explain that, the path of life. He crossed by a black cat and had to go all the way around. They look at him and they sigh before then just going on to, listen to what Kakashi has to say, which is essentially all the rules and tribulations that come with the bell test. The group listens, and after hearing out Kakashi, they're like, all right, sounds pretty straightforward. Let's get it done. Everybody then, how do I put this? Everybody then goes into hiding. Like, they all go into hiding and they're like, yeah, hide, right? They're like hiding and shit like that. And they're doing their thing, they're like hiding from Kakashi. Naruto actually does do this time, just due to the fact that Naruto isn't exactly the best hand-to-hand fighter in the world. He's still second to Sasuke when it comes to taijutsu, and Kakashi's a full-grown jonin. So Naruto is more than smart enough to realize when he's not going to win at something. So instead, what Naruto does is goes very far away to the point where the dude can't catch him. He can't catch him at all, and Naruto decides that, how do I put this? Naruto decides that he's essentially just gonna shoot his ghost out at him. Basically is what Naruto decides. It's like, you know what? I could fight you, but I'm not going to, because I'm gonna sit back and send 1,000,000 ghosts after you. Why? Because I can summon like 50 shadow clones, and from there I can summon 1,000,000 ghosts at you, like 4 a piece. At least 100 little exploding ghost thingy rejiggers, right? They fly in at Kakashi like an absolute tsunami. They pretty much engulf him, and Kakashi's eye widens. He substitutes out of there, and the explosion that goes on to engulf the surrounding area shocks Kakashi to his absolute core. This man is like, yo, where did this man pull this from? And you also have to keep in mind the fact that Kakashi dodged a couple hundred, right? He dodged a couple hundred. They exploded. They did their thing. My man Kakashi is like, where did this come from? And Naruto's just back in the tree like, tee-hee-hee-hee-hee. You know what I mean? Like, obviously not like that, but this man is just sitting there by the tree just laughing, enjoying his time at the fact that he just pretty much embarrassed this man Kakashi beyond all belief, and then proceeds to just get up and be like, all right, so let me do this next. He creates more clones that just rush in at Kakashi alongside a bunch of little mini ghosts, and they bombard Kakashi. Now mind you, Sasuke and Sakura are watching this and they're like, this is insane. And these little mini ghosts just spread out in so many different directions, to the point where even if Kakashi wanted to dodge all of these little exploding clone thingy majiggers, he's not going to. They would eventually end up catching up to him, kind of like bees in cartoons, where you guys will see them like swarm up to people. Like, they'll be hitting the bee nest, and then suddenly the huge bees will turn into like a fist and they'll like hit you. Well, these exploding clones can't exactly become tangible. So instead, what happens is they get close to Kakashi, boom! Huge explosion, Kakashi gets sent flying off into the distance, and man is basically out of commission for a couple of hours. He wakes up dizzy, wondering what just happened, and Naruto dangles both bells in front of his face, telling Kakashi that they passed. Kakashi gets up groggily and then goes on to say that, they didn't pass, that they failed, and Naruto creates one of those depression ghosts to fly right through him to make Kakashi become sad and depressed, saying, I killed Rin. As Naruto watches this and he's like, who's Rin? Kakashi eventually snaps out of it, and eventually what ends up happening is Kakashi's like, alright, okay, look, the point of that exercise was teamwork. You guys need to work as a team. If you don't do it, we're disbanding the team. You guys have a couple shots. We're gonna go on a couple D-rank missions. Do your best, and hopefully you don't disappoint me. The entirety of the team would be like, I don't see the problem with that. Let's get started. And from here, everybody just goes on to have 2 weeks of worthless missions that I'm not covering. Eventually, though, they find their way into the Hiruzen's office, and it's on this particular day that Hiruzen would be briefing them in on what's been going on in Konoha and the fact that they have more D-rank missions. Naruto this time ends up speaking up. He's like, hey, old man, can you give us a good mission for once? I've been chasing cats around and walking old ladies down the street. I'm a ninja. Give me something a ninja does. Hiruzen hears this and he's like, all right, Naruto boy, bring him in. He looks to his Anbu and they end up bringing Tazuna in the room. Sakura gives Naruto a mean glance and is like, "Cha, how dare you disrespect our Hokage?" Naruto doesn't care, and as soon as Tazuna walks in, he begins berating Sakura, telling her that she looks like an absolute goofball, telling her that she looks dumb, yada yada yada. She gets angry and she's like, "Cha, I'm gonna beat you up!" But obviously she can't do anything because she's a weak kunoichi. That said, what ends up happening is the team ends up meeting up at the village gates the very next day, and what I see happening from here is Naruto getting ready. You know, he has his backpack type beat. He has, you know, his little ghosts his big ghost just kind of how do I put this? His ghost just kind of carrying him. If I can explain, like his ghosts are kind of like the tangible ones, and they're just carrying him over their shoulders. They end up walking for about, say, a cool 4 minutes, and eventually what ends up happening is the ghosts would end up tracking something up ahead, a puddle that does not belong there. Naruto has his senses high up on guard, and eventually the two demon brothers end up rushing at Kakashi, seemingly killing him, before Naruto just shoots two ghosts at them that cause the two demon brothers to fall into a deep state of depression, which both of them actually are so depressed that they straight commit seppuku. And if you guys don't know what that is, that's suicide. But yeah, the two brothers, they end up doing their thing, and Naruto just watches in absolute horror, like, I did not know that I could do that to people. Noted. And what ends up essentially happening is everybody watches as that just happen, and Kakashi is like, "Can you like maybe not hit me with that attack?" Naruto says, "Yeah, don't worry, you're my sensei. Like I won't hit you guys with that." Sasuke, realizing this, is like, "Naruto, so what is that little parlor trick you use?" Naruto turns to Sasuke and says, "Parlor trick?" Like for part 2!